In whole heart connection, we begin to talk about in the mentorship the Wei, Yin, and Yuan level. It does take a little bit of basic orientation first, even to get there. First, are we connected to the ground before any human relationship? Feeling for that. Before any human relationship is my connection to the ground. It's certainly not exclusive. We can, in some ways, be closer much more sanely if we put that first. Our connection to the sky, which is not way up there, it comes all the way down to the ground before any human connection, including our sky space on the inside, so that on a me first level, we can look at somebody and say, hey, look, there's somebody who's got sky inside of them. And it does change our relationship. It's like, I've got an inner sky temple, and there's sky. This is a sky carrier here. And of course, our relationship with the big heart through what I often call the donut hole in the chest, that we're all different flavors of donut. Our humanity is very, very different, but our heart is the same, just like all donut holes are the same flavor. The flavor is space through which light passes. So we often begin by just working with that and with making sure, is the donut hole open or have we squinched it shut? Because any other conversation about any other practice is intellectual if we haven't maybe put a hand on the bottom of the heart where the diaphragm is to check, is there squinchy in there? Is there squinchy? And if there's squinchy, there's probably squinchy because something was happening and we're like, okay, I'm gonna go squinchy. And so, we're feeling for, can I let the squinchy open that may be closed because I got wound up, or because I saw a difficult news report, or because something happened and I didn't have the back of my heart open enough to be able to go, and feel what I feel while coming home. Yeah, so this is all the 101 that needs to happen before we can talk about a mentorship level practice. Is just the basic level of, is my heart open enough to receive me on my way back home from my latest adventures, so that I can also receive matching funds of the light that comes through to embrace me and to wash me and my adventure self that may have seen a lot and felt a lot and been through a lot. And now I'm coming home. Yeah. So we begin there. We always begin with a little bit of a review of the basics and an encouragement that the most important part of any practice is not snapping out of it. So even if I talk about other things that are new and interesting, the most important thing is going to be this continued practice of welcome home. Welcome home with everything that we bring when we come home, the tangled hair and maybe some bruises and stuff that needs washing and all of that. Yeah. A heart has layers. A person has layers. You could say, if you were looking at an actual donut, there's the layer with the glaze and the sprinkles on it. And then there's the layer that's like, the thick, meaty layer of the donut. And then there's the back of the donut where it kind of soaks up the coffee that got spilled in the saucer. It's like back of the donut, like, yeah. And then, of course, there's out the other side. So this happens in us as well. The terms Wei, Yin, and Yuan level come from Chinese medicine. They are the physical correlate of Sufi terms like Mulk, Malakut, Jabarut. And if we could come up with other names for them that didn't sound fancy and in a foreign language, that sounds great, but I haven't come up with anything yet that seems representative. The Wei level of the heart, there's also the windsock metaphor, which I often use, and that has levels and layers too. The first level, the Wei level, let's see if we can be on the Wei level together. The Wei level, if it's a donut, it's the place where the glaze and the sprinkles are. And if it's the windsock, it's where the fringes are going, woo, 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 and it's very electric and it's changing all the time. And sometimes we're nervous there, sometimes we're excited there, sometimes we're absolutely frozen there. I'm going to show no emotion because I'm a professional. Sometimes we put on a song and dance. Sometimes we're completely free like a child and open, and it's absolutely delightful because when the Wei level is healthy, we have true, spontaneous, uninhibited charisma. Like a child, like, yeah. And we have, with that freedom, we also, when the Wei level is open and healthy, we also have with freedom response ability, an ability to respond, because those fringes are out there in the wind and they can feel how the wind is blowing. Does she like me? How is this going? And so with the freedom that comes with the uninhibitedness of a healthy Wei level, it's not oblivious uninhibitedness when Wei level's closed and I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, and that's what I'm doing. It's open. So it's freedom and response ability. And it's a very exciting place, the Wei level, and a very delightful thing. And playful and ever changing, second by second, the healthy Wei level. Yeah. Moving from there to the Yin level is easier if you put your hands on your body and feel the gushy stuff that's inside. Not from the control tower looking down. Notice if you're up in the control tower looking down at the gushy stuff in there. And instead, we'll do it lovingly and we'll do it together. Actually, yeah, exactly. Start getting into that jacuzzi that's below the collarbones. It's a whole loose, squishy, deep, complicated terrain in the Yin level. And many people have loss of heart on the Yin level. Like as the donut hole moves through the layers, it's often kind of squinchy there. So I'm going to take a moment because sometimes it's hard for people to really want to go into the Yin level. It's like, that's where my deepest owies are. And where our deepest beauty is. Well, maybe not our deepest, but a lot of beauty, a lot of poetry, a lot of art. Just take a moment while we're with all that squishy stuff in there to breathe open the donut hole It's like in the middle of an ocean or a bathtub, the whirlpool space. Can I breathe open the space and then not disappearing up and out, but actually, okay, I'm down here in a very deep emotional world that is so deep that it goes back to the very beginning of my life, right? The deeper we go in this ocean, the more we find things that are still going on. Since high school, there's standing wave emotions. Since grade school, since being a toddler, there's so much here. It's such a deep ocean. And in the middle of it, all the way through, is heart, is donut hole. You might want to let your heart lean back against your spine a little bit more. Yeah, that heaven and earth, that alignment, it really helps as we go down and in. Yeah. So this is a world inside of the skin. And the reason why all our internal organs are inside of our skin is like there's a reason they're not on the outside on the way level. They're soft and it's a tenderness only zone. And a lot of healing takes place on the yin level when we open our heart specifically into the yin level and allow that 51% voting majority of love to open and wash. And as we get more adept at dropping from the way into the yin and keeping our heart open in the yang, we're able to heal deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper patterns. And we're able to assist other people in their yin level and their healing so much more fully, tenderly, and with the efficacy that comes from heart. I'm going to be brutal for a moment, so don't let it in. But this is very different, this meeting on the yin level, than me. It's like, why don't you tell me about your feelings? Tell me about your feelings. I tell you about everything that I'm feeling. I have a lot of feelings and I really communicate and I tell you all about what I'm feeling, but you never tell me what you're feeling. What are your feelings? You're not communicating. Help. The way level is it's the way it is. And there's certain things that are in our yin level that it is absolutely not appropriate to dredge up out of that soft ocean and bring up to the way level. We can't toss it around like a frisbee. If we're going to talk about certain things and offer them up for healing in partnership, our partner needs to come down to the yin level with us. We actually need to feel met and met with heart on the yin level. Because the other thing that can happen is we meet on the yin level and we drown in pain with the other person, which is a kind of solidarity and often is mistaken for love and loyalty. It's like, you're miserable, I'm going to be miserable with you and feel as bad as you do, and somehow hope the person feels better because at least somebody loves them enough to be miserable with them. This is an alternative to healing, which includes heaven and earth access, connection to the big heart on the yin level, so that on a me first basis, I am holding that open space on the yin level for healing and role modeling it for the other person. so that shyly, a little bit at a time, the things that are aching and that have been aching for a long time and that maybe absolutely could not speak or come up for air, we actually come down to where they are and connect on that level. There's tremendous healing and tremendous beauty in these worlds. And when we are able to be with each other here, it's like scuba diving. What we end up seeing is we're just like, ah, the endless inner worlds of each other. Could spend a long time there. And there are deeper layers. So without leaving the yin, we don't leave the yin, but we're feeling for dropping even deeper. A whole ocean, we're not really leaving it behind. We're actually going deeper and deeper into that ocean. So deep until we actually get to the bottom of the ocean. It's helpful to actually feel your heart lean back against the tree of your spine. Like, because the wave level was kind of in front of the heart and maybe the first like centimeter of flesh. And then the yin level, it's like, it's really in the fleshy part of the heart. And then what's called the yuan level, it's where the heart actually feels the spine behind it solid. It's a little bit of a leap of faith. If I actually let my heart lean back, will there really be a spine there? It is a leap of faith to go into that and feel it. And you have to lean, like really lean, like, shit, am I here? You don't necessarily have to move your body back, but your heart in your chest kind of feels for, is there a tree back there that I can lean against? And we're often quite shy about it at first. I'm here moving down to the bottom of the ocean. I'm here leaning back to see if I can feel my tree. And where we're going when we're moving to the yuan level, it's often very unfamiliar at first. After a while, we just live there and it's very secure. But we were not related to necessarily as children from what Sufis call our soul, which is a part of us that is deeper than any emotion we have ever had. For many of us, this is unimaginable, especially because we have such deep emotions. And in the yin level, we can feel them still there from when we were tiny. And we get very identified with our emotions, especially our long-standing emotions. We think that's who I am. I am this collection of feelings. And as we move to the yuan level, as we start to shyly feel our own spine behind our heart, and actually start to step into it and realize, okay, that actually is me. A part of me that is so bedrock. It's been there from the beginning underneath. It is not changed by life events. It's like a standing Stonehenge. I was this. This is what looked out of my eyes when I was 2 days old. And underneath everything else, this is what will look out of my eyes when I'm in my 90s. And it's been here deeper than every emotion I've ever had all the time. And it is loving, but not particularly emotional. It is loving. It has loves that are its own nature. It's like, this is what I am. I am this kind of love. I am this collection of qualities. Yeah. It's such a pleasure to be with others on the Yuan level. When it's new, people tend to be very solemn together. Like, oh my God, I'm deeper than any emotion. I'm this person that I've always been. Holy shit. And people are just like, oh, this is a me. It's me. I better hold still because I might lose it. But after a while, especially in community, when in a community that is looking straight at you from their own Yuan level and seeing, yep, got some fine, fancy fringes in the wind, yin way level, got some deep, beautiful, all the art in the whole world, yin level. And I'm shaking hands with the Yuan level. I'm standing here on the bottom of the ocean with you and saying, want to have lunch? It's an incredible affirmation that can happen in community. To be in freedom and responsibility on the way level. Deep healing, tenderness on the yin level. And understanding that even all that beauty, it's not actually who you are. It's temporary. It's changing. It's just changing more slowly. Underneath is something that nothing in our life experience can change, which is fantastic, because it means that underneath the places that often feel quite broken and damaged, even in the yin, underneath it on the Yuan level is a read-only document. This is it. It's like the genotype. How things express is how they express. But in the genotype, in the soul, in the Yuan level, it's read-only. And so we can come back to it. And it's very important for accessing this in healing, because it is the part of you that is completely undamaged and undamageable. When people really settle into knowing who they are, their inner tree, their backbone, their bottom of the ocean, their simple Yuan statement that life is making through them, like here it is, there's a fearlessness, not reckless, but a fearlessness, because you know you can be hurt, but on some level you know you can't be broken or damaged. This is here and we can always return to it. That's that soaked in coffee part of the donut in the back. That's that hoop in the back of the windsock that lets in the wind from even further back than the deepest part of me, from even further back than the most eternal part of me. In Chinese medicine, that's called the Shen level. Sufis call it Lahut. And Whole Heart Connection calls it the light shining through. All these layers are what the light is shining through. And then behind it is this vast light. So the anchoring in the yuan level, so that we can be, as we are lighthouses, bringing the light through, feeling the light through, feeling the light from behind, shining on our essence. It's tremendously affirming. When we are in our yuan, feeling the back of our yuan, where that sunshine, that light, that Shen is shining, we know we're not a mistake. We know that we were lovingly designed as we feel that light coming onto our yuan level. This is very confidence building without fist pumps. It's just like, yep, this is the universe shining its light on the back of my design. And from that comes the ability to hold and embrace the yin, some of which may have been through a lot, holding it. And then all that emotion, because wow, emotion, we can have a lot of it. When we're anchored in the yuan, we know that we are the bowl, not the soup. And oi, the soup. It can be some very incredible soup. Sometimes it's very painful soup. Sometimes it's overwhelming soup. We have the soup. We contain the soup, but we are the bowl. And this also is very helpful in our walk through life. So this is a brief overview of the 3 levels. I mentioned the 4th. Okay. But basically, the 3 levels, the Wei, the Yang, and the Yuan, that we will be working with in the Making Connections Day. And I hope you'll join us. See you there.